Yo and hello everybody. Mike here, baseball collector, and I have tonight on Hobby Hotline overtime edition. Nolan, Ryan over there.
Yes,
What's up,
the
Ryan?
one, the strikeout king.
The strikeout king. You've not been striking out at shows lately. You've been doing really well.
Been all right. It's been a gradual improvement over 2 years. So,
Over 2 years. Golly.
like, people think you can just go straight into the show and spend a lot of money, but it takes a long time to build up and to, like, I don't know, it's not the confidence side of things, but just like getting into those bigger deals and knowing where, like, if you want to hold that card or move it to someone else, and then knowing, like, walking around and finding opportunities. It's a skill set.
I do really dig, when we did it on Hobby Palooza where you were at that show, right? Walking around. And that kind of launched a new thing for you, right?
A little bit. I paused it. What I want to do eventually is like live stream the entire show. It's kind of tough sometimes because of connection wise. And there's a lot of things I've been researching. I just don't have the time to fully implement and execute it to the level I want to yet. But I think probably next year or maybe even later this year. It just depends on time wise. I'm gonna try live streaming the entire shows from like start to finish, everything I do.
Well, this may be the new Hobby Hotline deal where it's just two dudes talking. It could be like
this is the first with 2 people, right?
Probably not, but that's all right. I'll see if I can get Mr. John Keating to come join us. But I guess I should put the link if anybody wants to come on the show and talk to Ryan and myself. Feel free. They say call in, but nobody's actually calling. So, right.
We get like a telephone call.
Yep. Yeah, this isn't, that
a
radio call-in show. Man, some interesting, tops released 2023 design, right? Let's show it to everybody. If you haven't seen it, which if you haven't seen it, then I don't know where you've been hiding, but here it is. What do you like about it? What stands out to you?
Well, the first thing, so I mean, it's been all over social media already. The 20-year trend where they put the face and the bottom. I found that pretty interesting. The 63, 83, 03, and then 2023. I like how Topps went back and continued the pattern over that time, which makes me wonder, did they do that on purpose in 2003 and 83, or was that just on accident and they realized, all right, let's do it again in 2023?
Is it hard to believe it's an accident? I don't know, maybe. What I don't like, first of all, we've only seen one card, right? So
we don't know everything. Yeah, rookie card logo kind of annoying in the bottom.
Yeah, that would have been better, I think, up here on the upper left, right?
Something like that. I mean, if you're fanning through a bunch of cards trying to pull the rookies, it's kind of tough with that. Also, I saw someone redesign it on Twitter. I kind of like the design better where it had the team name at the very top, so you can see the full thing rather than having it cut off. It actually looked way cleaner.
Yeah, I don't like that his face is covering up the team name. That just doesn't make any sense. I love the logo that they're adding in there.
It's so nice.
So it's I'm kind of like, okay. I mean, it looks like a Topps design. It's not anything that's going to blow you away, but it doesn't suck. It doesn't say Fanatics on it.
It might on the back. We don't know.
Yep. Hey, look, we got people joining us.
Hi there.
There we go.
I heard the clarion call that you needed more people. So, and I love talking about. I actually thought I loved the mascot on the Topps card this year. That's the first time in years they've done things like that. In a weird way, it reminds me of what they did in this, like the 65 Topps set, where they put various logos on the card, and it's been a long time since they did that. So I was a big fan when I saw that. But Adley Rutschman better not be a rookie card. Good Lord, he's been up long enough this year. But I guess we'll know what the cutoff date is.
They did that.
Whatever date he got called up, is it going to be at least that date? If not going further, everybody will be an RC. Otherwise, our friend Victor's going to say, "How come you weren't consistent?"
it's all marketing. They did that with Franco as well. They could have easily put him in update last year and decided we're going to get a full year of rookie cards with it, and then they maximized them.
And that's good, because if you think the guy's going to be a really good prospect, you want to use him as much as possible as a rookie card in the next year's sets. You don't want to use let's say they make 30 sets in a year, and I'm just spitballing, or 40 sets. You want to use him as a rookie in 30 sets rather than 10 sets, especially because a lot of the end of the year products tend to be higher end anyway. So they've got a lot of things going for them that don't need as many rookie cards.
We also have Eddie.
Hey.
Hey.
So, Rich, I like a lot of what you were saying with the large team logo at the bottom. We haven't really seen anything like that in a while. And for some reason, I was getting like a Topps Total vibe. Anybody remember Topps Total? I was getting like a Topps Total vibe from this card. I will say the one criticism I've seen online, I sort of agree with. It's a little busy, like the team names kind of blocked off, and maybe just remove that altogether because you have the big logo. A little busy toward the bottom. The rookie card placement, the rookie card logo placement's a little bit weird, but I mean, overall, anything that gets us away from like the 2020, 2021, like industrial kind of weird shapes for no reason, I'm all in favor of. So overall, I like it, even though I'm not really a modern. Here's those back pages. I'm not really a modern guy, but yeah, for sure.
I also liked, I could read the name on the card. I believe it was 2021. You can't read the front and you can't read the back. And I need my magnifying glass to verify, unless I happen to know what the person looked like.
Amen. That's why you keep your readers handy. But even with that, and about 10 years ago, they went crazy with the foil. And you know, even if it was big enough with the foil, hard to read. So yeah, I love that the name is bigger, and I believe it's white. Mike, is it in white, like a white font?
Yes,
I don't have it up.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, I gotta pull it back up.
Anything away from the foil, it gets us away from the foil name.
Yes,
all in favor.
White font. I just like borders on base cards.
Yeah.
I like, I love the logos. I mean, it'll be interesting to see more. Again, we've only seen one card. It's hard to make a sweeping judgment over an entire set based on one image, right?
Yeah.
So
but let's do it anyway. We're on the internet. Go to Blowout forums. You'll have your share of that there for sure.
Oh, I'm sure they are going to town on it. But
yeah.
Eddie, how did you come up with the name of Chaos for your company?
Great question, Rich. And I'm not really familiar with you or your channel either.
I don't have a channel. I'm a freelance pain in the what.
Hey, you're just a dude. We like that too.
I'm just a dude.
I'm
an old dude who's been doing this for a long time.
Right. So my original channel name was Eddie's Baseball Autographs, because when I started my channel, the whole focus was TTM and in-person autographing. And Mike O was my big inspiration to start a channel, because he used to do a ton of that, if you've been around long enough. And it's been about a little over 3 years now. And I saw these videos and saw these cards. I wanted to start branching out. And I just went in every direction at once. I've managed to avoid getting into the basketball thing, mostly because I don't have a team. I'm in the Seattle area, and my team was taken away from me. And I've avoided football mostly because it just doesn't seem like players stick around long enough to like really build up a good fandom for particular players. And but anyway, I go in every direction. I'm doing pre-war now. I'm doing vintage. I do modern. I have like a knuckleball collection I've been working on. I collect players from my state. I collect players with my name. I collect players with my birthday. Just you name it, and it's chaos in here, so it's chaos on the channel.
It's funny. I accumulate. I don't really PC. The only PC I have left is a hobby related collection. Like for example, the set of cards the Hobby Hotline people did at the National. I have one of those, I believe, and I have some other hobby related cards. But when I accumulate cards, if I see cards in a dime box or a quarter box, there are two people from the major leagues who went to my high school. So I'll buy every one of those at that level. Yeah. And there's a bunch of people who share my birthday, and some of them are pretty minor. So like there's a guy, Ron Jones, from the Junk Wax era from the Phillies. He shares my birthday. He's a few years younger than me, but sadly he passed. And frankly, it's one of the few things I let myself take out of donations or cards of people like him. And there's people who I went to college, who went to my college, and we'll pull out those cards too. So I kind of accumulate stuff like that. So I'm a lot like you, but I don't collect people from my state. Oh yeah, and there are two people there's one MLB player who has baseball cards, and one NFL player who has a football card. His only football card is 84 Tops. So if I see those, I get them. And then the baseball guy actually had a decent enough career. So he was a 50s, 60s guy. So I accumulate that stuff. So it's sort of like you, except I do a little more focused.
Yeah. Yeah, right on. I've learned to just sort of adopt seasons for different collections so I don't make myself too crazy. And when I got back from the National, I had this problem, was like, where do I go? What do I do? Thankfully, I was pretty broke, so that helped me with my decision making.
The National will do that to you every time. And by the way, you should never say Seattle doesn't have a basketball team. You have a pretty darn good WNBA team.
They've won
Bird on it.
4 titles, and that's fair enough. Fair enough. I actually went out and got like a really cool parallel card of hers this year just to commemorate her last season with the team. So that's fair enough, Rich.
I'll besides, the company I work for is based out of the Seattle area. I work for ComC, which is based out of the Seattle area.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
Our owner and founder Tim Getz is a big Seattle Storm fan.
Yeah.
And a big WNBA fan. So I better say that if I want to keep in good standing.
For sure. Oh, I'm on the hot seat now because I haven't touched this collection in so long. Atlee Hammaker, Neil Allen. Oh my gosh, certainly there's no Hall of Famers or anybody like that. Whit Merrifield, if you want to go with a current player. January 24th, if you're, hey.
Ryan's looking up who was born on his birthday right now.
Yeah.
I have my desktop right there.
I have 2. I'll let the audience decide who the most Pedro Martinez was born on my birthday, and
done.
So was Juan Soto, though.
Edgar for me. Hey, I'm Northwest.
No, not Edgar. Pedro Martinez was born.
Pedro.
It has to be Pedro.
And I've got Roger Bresnahan, Ernie Nevers. Well, Ernie, not a Hall of Famer, but he played baseball, but he's a football Hall of Famer. I got Roger Bresnahan. I think he's the only baseball Hall of Famer, but the most famous sports athlete born on my birthday is Joe Montana. So,
okay.
Linda Blair, born on his birthday.
Everyone's looking this up now.
Sadly, Ryan has probably no idea who Linda Blair is. If you do, I will be super impressed. She played the lead role in a very scary movie called The Exorcist.
Heard of the movie. I don't know who that is, though.
Don't watch it. You'll have nightmares for days.
Yeah. The thing is, John Keating may actually be born on the same day as Linda Blair. Their ages are, I suspect, John may be a little bit younger, but their ages are fairly similar.
If you've never done it, it's a fun exercise to go look on Wikipedia at your actual birthday and what happened when you were born and around that. I know my daughter was born in late July 2001, and so 6 weeks after her birthday was 9/11, so she, I just remember having a very small child and going, I have no idea what the world's going to look like tomorrow. You're just going, what?
Amen. Well, I got to bail for now. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks,
Eddie. Stay on.
I'm in charge of dinner tonight, so I got it.
We're going to have good topics. Stay on.
No, more than merrier. I got it. I got tons of topics.
I'll watch it on replay.
See you, Eddie. Thank you.
Eddie, be good. Great meeting you.
So I looked up the guys on my birthday. So we have two, Lance Berkman
Okay.
and then Herb Pennock, who's a Hall of Fame pitcher.
He is a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Herb Pennock, Yankee pitcher, later became GM of the Phillies, helped build the Whiz Kids in 1950.
I know that.
So apparently,
you're
John
good.
is saying,
You're good. I mean, you follow modern sports, but you're good. You have that thirst and that knowledge for getting older information too, and I like that.
I try my best. There's always so much to learn.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Learning is. I'm still learning too.
All
Trust
right.
me. I get to see cards every day at work I've never seen before.
That's fun.
Yeah, and it is fun, and I get to and I read the backs of some of them too, even the old ones, because it's like, wow, that's cool. In fact, that's the worst thing I do is I read the backs of some of these 50s and 60s cards. Slow myself down because it's just fun to read the backs.
What is it like? There's a 55 Bowman that had like a pretty interesting back baseball wise. I can't remember which one it was though.
Well, Eddie Waitkus talks about being shot.
That's what it was, Eddie Waitkus.
And there's a 49 Phil Marchidone Bowman card. It talks about him being a prisoner of war during World War II. So there's some pretty good stuff, and I believe Murray Dixon was I think it was Murray Dixon was a driver for General Patton during World War II. It could be him. Maybe it was Howie Paulette, but I think it was Murray Dixon was a tank driver for George Patton and drove Patton around. There are some interesting bios that show up on those 40s and 50s cards.
I just
And
like
60s.
cartoons that look like comic books.
By the way, Mike, how's the 6 million card load doing?
It's good. Ty flies in tomorrow. We're going to keep working on it. And then we're going to go Thursday to see a collection of vintage that we might buy for a future episode. So there's always stuff going on.
I had a man that was nice enough to loan us tables for our synagogue show since we didn't keep all the tables when we moved to our new, smaller building. And he lives less than 10 minutes from the office. And he and a buddy of his went up to Oklahoma yesterday and came home with a U-Haul truck full of stuff.
Oh, really?
And he showed it to me, and it's cards and programs and all sorts of really cool stuff. It's more than just cards. I mean, there's always stuff out there. People ask, is there ever going to dry up? Well, you may not get what you really want, but if you're just looking, you'll get something. You may not get your goal, but if you really look, you can get something. And sometimes at a place like the National, where it's 600 booths, which is like 1,500 tables, you should be able to get what you want. And if you can't get it at the National, it's good luck. You're really going to need it.
So, question of the day. Obviously, we went through the Topps design. There's two big milestones we're looking at here in baseball right now that are happening that we're getting to see unfold this last month of the season. And look, guys, if you're football, basketball, you've got. I'm a baseball guy. I'm running the show. That's what we get to talk about. So we've got Aaron Judge making an assault on the American League home run single season record. And we've got Albert Pujols closing in on 700 home runs. First question, Ryan. Do either of those things get accomplished? That's the first question. And to answer that.
I think they both do. What's stopping MLB from giving juice balls to the players? And we've seen them change up the ball designs. And Pujols has been hitting a lot more home runs recently. Not being conspiracy theory or anything like that, but I'm sure MLB has some extra juiced balls that they decided to throw out there. All right, let's hit those milestones. That's a ton of marketing all over the world if those two milestones are hit.
Yeah, I think it's, there's a lot of buzz around this. And look, Ryan was hardly born in 1998, but let me tell you that. Were you even born in 98? Please say yes.
I was born in February 98.
Okay, thank God you were at least alive. All right, so Rich and I remember that it was just a huge deal, that chase. And, guys had come close before and everybody would fizzle out. And the reality is at the beginning of the year, if you would have put your money on a player, you'd probably put it on Griffey to beat the record. and because he had hit 56 the year before or something like that, something crazy in the 50s, and you're like, okay, here we go. And then, you're obviously McGuire had a great year the year before, and then Sosa just comes out of nowhere, right? So Griffey faded at the end. That was a huge, huge deal. The Bonds' pursuit of the record was much more muted. There was already rampant speculation about him doing it juiced. I mean, that was already all out in the, in the world that Bonds was not probably doing it on the up and up. And then you have now everybody's saying, oh, Judge is going to get the record and it's going to be the real single season home run record. I have such a hard time with that. I mean, unless he hits 74, he won't have the single season home run record, no matter what you think. He'll have the clean, whatever. I mean, that's just silly. But these are numbers. Baseball, among every other sport, above every other sport, is the numbers, the significant numbers are revered. You can say certain numbers in baseball and they elicit a response. You know who it is. If I say 406 1941, Ryan's going to say,
I'm going to say Ted Williams.
You're going to say Ted Williams. I say 56. You're going to say
Mickey Mantle, Triple Crown.
Or Joe DiMaggio hitting streak. But that's okay. You could always say, 755 was a monumental number. 61 was a monumental number. There are just certain things in sports. We all knew how many games Gehrig played in consecutively, and then Ripken broke that. So I love that Judge is getting the attention. I think it's well deserved. He's having an amazing season. There's no reason baseball shouldn't celebrate the heck out of this. In fact, my son hasn't been to a game in the new ballpark. He's 22. See, ballpark's only been around 2 years, but at least 2 years with fans. But we're going on October 4th to see the Yankees and the Rangers, to see maybe Judge hits some amazing, milestone home run. And so it's getting me to go to a game when I hadn't, wasn't even thinking about it really at the end of the season. The Rangers are terrible, but hey, I can go see Aaron Judge during a year when he's going to do something potentially spectacular. So that's what these types of pursuits do, right? Whether it's a single season record, a career milestone. To me, the Pujols thing is pretty amazing. I mean, what is he at 695? 695. So he's one behind A-Rod, 5 from 700. Rich, does he get to 700?
I think so. I think Ryan's right. I think they will do what they can to help him get to 700, but he's still got to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And that's never a guarantee.
No doubt.
And the Dodgers are so far out in front of the race. I think their magic number, when I looked it up today, was 9. So he can play more down the stretch, and it will not affect the Dodgers' postseason, position in terms of, where they're going to be in terms of the standings. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the National League. So you don't have to worry about, okay, am I going to, does he have to play? Can he skip some games? Yes, but we can play him and not hurt the team in any way. And plus, with the DH, he gets to be the DH. He doesn't even have to play first base anymore. So I'll give it a qualified he should.
I was going to say, he's on the Cardinals. Are they still first
base?
The
Cardinals, though. I'm sorry. The Cardinals are. Why did I think he was on the Dodgers last year?
Yeah, Dodgers last year.
Yeah, but the Dodgers are going to win their division. I think they're up by like 6 games.
Yeah,
the Cardinals are going to win their division.
The Cardinals are going to win their division. Boy, my brain just.
Is Molina, Wainwright, and Pujols all retiring at the end of the year?
I think 2 of the 3. I don't think Wainwright's made an official announcement. I think Molina has made an announcement.
He's gone. He's not even with the team.
And Wainwright, I think, is the only one who hasn't made an announcement, but he's it would be nice for all three of them to go out as division champions and maybe even win a series or two in the playoffs.
I think so too. I mean, if you want to maximize your Hall of Fame potential, retire then and be like, we can get 3 Cardinals in the Hall of Fame in 1 year. You can let the voters do it.
That has, I don't think Wainwright gets in.
What does he have stats wise right now? I'm kind of curious.
The stats, I don't think he's got 200 wins. I don't think he gets in. Molina will get in at some point. I think Molina's a third or fourth ballot player. Pujols will be the first ballot. Will be on the first ballot. I think Molina's 3 and 4, and I think Wainwright may make it someday Veterans Committee.
Yeah, so Wainwright right now, stats wise, so wins above replacement. This is Baseball Reference. He's at 47, which is below average for a Hall of Fame pitcher, but there's some pitchers that have less than that. There's some pitchers that have, there's a lot of pitchers that have more. He has 194 wins, which wins isn't as important today as it was in the past. I know, obviously, with sabermetrics, people are more looking at total stats rather than just wins because you can't control that as a pitcher. You look at his whip, he's at 1.2. He has 2,100 strikeouts, which I think the number today is really like 2,500. And then even a career ERA plus, he has like a 120, which is decent. So I
think his counting, as you're saying, his counting stats are just below, which is why.
Yeah. But this year, how's he doing? He's 10-9. He has a 118 ERA plus, 1.2 whip. He still has more years in him if he continues to pitch.
That's why I think he's a Hall of Famer Veterans Committee, and maybe one more year after this year, and he gets past 200 wins, and that probably would get him in. He also does have those World Series championships, so that will give a little extra boost on that. So I would say maybe if he gets in as being voted by the writers 9th or 10th ballot, or I really suspect there'll be Veterans Committee. But that's just my opinion.
It's Wainwright only has 1 ring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Baseball Reference.
Okay.
06.
He was out the 2011 season where they beat the Rangers.
Okay, but he still gets a ring for that. He just doesn't pitch on the team.
Right. He does have 2 20-win seasons, a couple of 19-win seasons. Has led the league a couple of times. 4 times in the top 5 in the Cy Young voting. Never won. Never really won like ERA titles or
What's what they call black ink? How much, since you're looking it up, how much black ink does he have?
He is.
They'll tell you how much black ink.
24.
That's not bad. 24 black ink is not bad.
Average Hall of Famer is around 40. His Hall of Fame monitor, which is what I like that stat, is 87. Likely Hall of Famer is 100. So would I vote for him? No. Do I think he's had a great career? Of course. Who wouldn't take his career? But I've never watched him play and thought, oh my gosh, he's one of the best I've ever seen.
That's why I'm saying he's just short of a Hall of Famer. But as I said, as Ryan correctly pointed out, in today's world, with how we're evolving, analyzing players, he may just get in as a Veterans Committee person.
Despite the fact that John misspelled Frisch on this. That's a good point. There is some cronyism. I bet he'll have who will win. I guess by then Tony La Russa will still be on the Veterans Committee, so he'll jockey to get
Tony La Russa will be 92 years old and on the Veterans Committee.
Darn right. But let's not undermine the accomplishment of 700 home runs for his career that Albert Pujols.
Let's not underestimate 695 homers.
Good point. It's great that in this one song of a year, and I did a video on it weeks ago where I was like, hey, on these last 6 weeks, don't miss out. If you have an opportunity to watch Pujols, if you have an opportunity to, watch Cabrera, even though Cabrera is probably going to come back, but these guys that are generational type players, go watch them. You got another month to watch Pujols, barring, forget the playoffs. I'm talking about just regular season. just take advantage of that. Watch Pujols hit, because he's certainly a shell of himself. He's not the same guy he was an absolute beast all through the 2000s. He was an absolute wrecker of the baseball.
Mike, do you remember the World Series game he hit 3 homers in?
I was there.
So was I. Where were you sitting?
First base side, about 10 rows up. I'm sorry, third base side. I was on.
You had much better seats than I did. I was upper deck, right field, like 10 rows from the top of the stadium.
I had Randy Galloway's seats. You'll know who that is, but
how did you pull that off?
My best friend is his neighbor, so that, believe me, it was pure just luck. And
okay, because I was just happy to have seats. A friend of mine writes for the AP and arranged for me to have seats. And the funniest story about that is I went and picked up the seats in 2010 or 2011, and there was a New Yorker in front of me, and he was giving these poor people where you pick up the tickets, like all this crap. And I mean, he was treating them like dirt, and acting like a big shot. And I just walked in, and we spent a few minutes, and I could, and I knew they were flustered from the last person. So it's been a few minutes because we finally figured out how the tickets were in the person's name, and they gave them to me, and they had program, and then they had some really nice cookies there when I picked them up. And, and I said, by the way, so I paid for the program because you're supposed to. And I said, is there a charge for the cookies? They laughed and, no, please take one. You've actually been nice.
Well, I remember that third home run Pujols hit it's still in orbit, and NASA's tracking it.
Well, just like the one he hit against Brad Lidge in 2000, I believe, in 5. I remember lying in bed and seeing that and saying, well, wait a second. That ball is, as you said, that was another one still going.
It's still in orbit.
And the next day, Roy Oswald pitched a three-hit shutout, and so much for the Cardinals getting the momentum based on Pujols' homer.
So what does this do? Let's talk Judge first. He's in a walk year, right? I mean, look what he's doing right now. What does it do for his hobby? It's obviously had an impact the last 3 or 4 weeks as he's really started to pile on the homer numbers this year. It's so funny how 2 years ago, Judge is terrible, one season wonder. It cracks me up when people give up on players so fast. Where do you think, Ryan, that his hobby goes from here?
I think he's the modern day Roger Maris. I think at this point, right, I don't know for sure if his Yankee career might be over, but if he ends up signing somewhere else, Yankee fans are always still going to collect his cards. People today still go after Roger Maris cards. He's not a Hall of Famer, but they always point to the 61 home run season. Still extremely popular with all the fans. So I think he kind of has that side of things. The problem with Aaron Judge is he got called up so late. Now, it's so hard to predict your future, especially in the 30s. Like, players decline. There's a lot of players that had phenomenal 20s, and you don't expect injuries. One example is like Stanton. Like, if you look how good he was in the 20s, and super injury prone the last few years. So who knows with Aaron Judge where it goes. But now, if he hits that 61 home runs, his cards will never be worthless. There's always going to be someone that says, I want an Aaron Judge card. And even like a base rookie will always be $10, $15.
Yeah. I think of Judge potentially having a career similar to a guy like Ralph Kiner, who won 7 home run titles in 9 years or something crazy like that.
His cards are so dirt cheap, though.
They are, but there's, he is in the. I'm thinking about Judge's prospects to have a Hall of Fame type career, and how could he do it? If he's not going to play forever, he's got the injury. Him and Stanton, man, just can't seem to stay healthy. Now, Judge has been really healthy this year, but I don't know. It's very interesting. I think Judge is going to cement himself as he won't have to worry about having a slump season anymore. His cards will have value. Will they be always super high? Not even Trout, right? That his stuff can fluctuate up and down dramatically. But it doesn't mean he'll always have a place in the hobby going forward. just like Sammy Sosa does, no matter what you think about Sammy Sosa or Mark McGwire. There are so many McGwire collectors out there. It is ridiculous. They're everywhere. Pool holes is an interesting story. I think getting to 700 will bring awareness for people to go, holy crap, this guy was really, really good. And his last few Angels years were so terrible that people just forgot about him. I'm like, dude, this guy is like so good.
I know he's at different levels, but look at Cabrera, 500 home runs and 3,000 hits right now. I know 700 home runs and everything else that Pujols did. I mean, way better career than Cabrera. But even the hobby after Cabrera hit both those marks, people are like,
yeah,
which is insane because it's like those are two milestones. A lot of baseball collectors try to prospect or try to grab guys in their PCs. Oh, I have a 500 home run PC or 3,000 hit PC. It literally checks off two boxes. And I feel like no one talks about Cabrera anymore.
Do you think that's short-sightedness of the hobby? They're always thinking about who the new top prospect is, who will probably in 99% of the time will end up, washing dishes at Applebee's, versus focusing on the guys that are well established. And that's always perplexed me, by the way.
Well, because the hobby right now is so focused, it's very money driven, where it's like prospecting is hot potato. Someone will get the next prospect. They hope it goes from 30 to top 10. When he gets top 10, he gets hyped up throughout the hobby or the media. You sell that prospect and you find out who your next guy is in that fringe 20 to 40 category, buy some of their other autograph cards, and then wait, rinse and repeat. What happens to a lot of Hall of Famers is like once they end up retiring, they dwindle down for a few years until they reach the Hall of Fame. There's a bit of a spike, they flatline, and then either go up gradually or just slowly go down a little bit. And people that are in the hobby, just to primarily look at money side of things, which is a lot of younger people right now, they need to be on the prospect side of things because you're going to wait 6 months to a year and buy in inventory into a prospect and move it, or you're going to wait 5 years for someone to make a Hall of Fame. With how many people will join the hobby even 2 years ago or even 3 years ago, everyone wants the quick capital or the quick flips. And that's why prospecting is kind of more relevant right now than people chasing Hall of Fames or chasing career numbers or stats.
But it's been that way since the 1970s. I started in the 1970s. 1977, Detroit dealers were bidding $3 on the Trader Speaks on Mark Fidrich rookies because they could flip them for $5. I could buy Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, Harmon Killebrew, Luis Aparicio, Eddie Matthews. I'm just talking about the mid-60s stuff for quarters and 50 cents. I could buy Rod Carew rookies in those days if I looked hard enough for $1, and I should have bought a lot more of those at that price.
Yeah.
We've been chasing the hot rookie for almost 50 years at this point, and guess what? We will continue that will never change. And you're right about the quick flip because a lot of people also don't have enough capital, so they have to try to make the quick flip to keep their capital going, and it's hard because you are right. It's a collector doesn't care about a quick flip. A person looking for the long game, so to speak, doesn't care about the quick flip. But, I frankly figured I sold out my inventory at the beginning of the year, but I frankly figured with a few exceptions of people I knew, 75% of the people, 90% of the people who bought from me, and I'm going to use this term in quotes, were looking to beat me when they bought cards from me. Yeah. There was a group of collectors. There were 6, somebody, John Keating's a collector. John Keating would look through my stuff and find, in the one time he came down here when I was set up, I had a bunch of 72 high numbers. They were off. Some were nice, some were in off condition. And I knew he was collecting them. And I really cut him, a nice, really nice break because I knew he wanted to keep them.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between a John Keating who wants to keep the cards and some people who would buy the Wander Francos because they think if I put them out at 10 or they can get 15 on eBay tomorrow, let me buy them at 8. So let me talk them down to 8 so I can get my 12 or 15 and flip them. So, but that's always going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people want the easiest way out. They don't want to spend the time and the effort working on it. or is the expression that I hear grind it out? Mike, you got 6 million cards, correct? You got to grind that out. There's no way in the world you're flipping 6 million cards.
No, we are bulking a lot of it out actually, but
Right. But you're not flipping. But I mean, did you? Oh, by the way, I assume in round 2 you find the better cards.
we do.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. And by the way, since you're both looking at Baseball Register, if you want a stat that would surprise you, look at Giancarlo Stanton's career homers total.
Yeah, he's at 370. I have a big Stanton PC. Like, he was my first modern guys that I collected. And
how far away from where you live did he play when he was with the Marlins?
I mean, I grew up in Tampa, so it's still 4 hours plus to go.
Okay, so it was just the same state.
Yeah, but like early on in the 2010, 2011, or 2009, around the area, like my dad was telling me about this prospect coming up, Stanton, who hits line drive home runs like no one else ever hit. So we bought a lot of his stuff. I mean, probably have 20 or 30 Topps Chrome autographs, have like number to 5 rookies, like probably 30 or 40 gold rookies, 500 plus of his standard rookies, because we're buying them for like the standard Topps rookies, we're buying them for $0.25 each. Like, okay, just keep buying them at that point. So
that's fine. That's the long game.
I have like well over 500 plus Stanton autographs, like rookie cards, all that type of stuff. So, when he was in the Marlins and hit that 59 home run year, I wish that was like a year or 2 years later when the hobby kind of exploded to the point where it is now, because could have sold all that and put it into some great vintage. But now who knows? I still think he'll end up hitting 500 home runs, but a big what if career. Like, imagine if he was healthy his entire time.
Yeah, and he's only like 30 years old, so he's still got I haven't done the Bill James projection model, but I would guess he's probably still in the 80% range of getting to 500 homers.
So Baseball Reference says on Stanton, I'm just curious. I think they have stuff on Baseball Reference. All right, so Black Ink, he has 21. The average Hall of Famer is 27. Then Hall of Fame Monitor, he has 73. Likely Hall of Famer 100. Hall of Fame Standards 27, supposed to be 50. And then Jaws right now, he has, what was that at? 40 Jaws, and then 5.1 more per 162 games, which is on track for like the Hall of Famers. Not Jaws, but the 5.1 per 162. So if he was healthy, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think he'll get to 500 even by crippling, even with not crippling injuries, but even with playing 120 games a year for the next 5 or 6 years. I think he gets there.
Yep.
I love Stanton. The last guy I saw hit a ball like Stanton does was Josh Hamilton. Hit balls like Stanton does, where it just rockets off the bat. Question about let me bring up Pujols again, just from a hobby standpoint. I mean, I think again Pujols has been largely forgotten the last 5 years or so. Certainly through all the run up, but his cards have kind of steadily gone up. They're not declining. They hadn't been declining tremendously. There are guys in that dark window. I call it the dark window, where after they retire, like Ichiro, Adrian Beltre, guys right now that you can get because nobody's thinking about them. They're out of sight, out of mind, right? They're not playing. They're not doing any more things. They're going to get in the Hall of Fame. To me, this is a great time during that dark period to pick up cards of those guys. And I think you'll have that opportunity with Pujols once he retires and kind of gets a year or two. Like, be patient with Pujols. I wouldn't be running out buying Pujols stuff right now. I think that's silly.
I would say if you have Pujols stuff right now that's replaceable, sell it, because then 6 months from now you're going to be able to buy it at 75%.
Right.
Well, the old market adage, it's 2 things you should do: sell into an up market and buy into a down market.
Yeah.
Pujols rookie will be going to Dallas this weekend.
Nice.
So I get to see you this week?
Yep, I will actually be there Friday through Sunday. So I
get to see you. I don't have, since I'm not setting up, I can't put your cards out, so maybe I could find somebody else who can do that for you.
got a table there. I knew someone was setting up, and he's like, "I have a full table spot if you want." And I'm like, "Perfect, I'll do that." So
Even better than having me do it. Okay.
I'm gonna walk around Friday. I'm gonna set up Saturday, and then Sunday just depends on how it is.
Well, Sunday it usually closes down. Mike can tell you this too. It closes down pretty early Sunday.
Yeah, I will actually be missing the Dallas show this weekend, which is kind of sad.
Yeah, but look at all those cards you get to play with.
Yeah, I got 7 million cards, or was it 6 or 7 million?
It's 6 million.
With another collection on the way.
With another one we're going to see Thursday night. So
is that the second house one, or is that?
No, it's a new guy we found. Again, it's like this weird thing. You start talking. Oh, I have a buddy that like a great family friend. One of my best friends, his father-in-law knows a guy, and it's like you just start making these connections. And he brought these cards over. I kid you not. He goes, I'll bring a smattering and you can come look at them. So I went over to my friend's father-in-law's house and he met me there. He didn't want me to come to his house. He doesn't know me yet. He doesn't trust me. I'm like, good grief, man. Anyway, he's a 75-year-old guy, has on a shirt with a pocket on it. Rich, do you have a shirt with a pocket on it?
I do, but not wearing it right now.
Okay. Well, he did. And he had all these cards just sitting in a 54 Bowman Campanella, 55 Bowman Mantle. Just all these cards in his pocket, and he pulls them out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ever do that again. Like, don't put those in your pocket, please. He did have them in not top loaders, but penny sleeves. And he showed me about a dozen cards, and he told me what all he has. And they're all cards from his childhood that he just kept. And he's got probably 3 or 4 boxes, he says, of just early 50s to mid 50s stuff. So we're going to go look at it Thursday night and see.
Okay.
Speaking of bad ways of storing, so like when I was at the Villages card show this weekend, the guy had some cards that were like horizontal instead of being vertical in the binder, and they were creased every time like the pages were moving. I'm like, no, you can't do that. He's like, oh, it's okay. Like, it's fine. I'm like, no. The cards are creasing every time that you do it. So I had to fix it for him and show him, like, you can't have these cards being creased. But it was a childhood collection and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you brought up something, and we wanted to talk about it since we promoted it, talking about he doesn't trust you. Mike, I don't know how familiar you are, but we've had a raft of robberies and attempted robberies in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the card shows recently. The card stores.
Card shops, yeah.
Card shops.
Yeah, that's troubling. None of it's surprising probably to any of us that are in the hobby that understand that there's a lot of money to be had for people if they know what they're doing. That's why I keep a loaded shotgun right next to my card room. I don't know what to say other than it's a shame, and I don't know other than hyped up security and gorilla bars and whatever you would put, to protect your property.
I know I stopped at my local card store and they said the person that may have attempted, but they have like double, like insanely thick windows and like a drop down and like stuff to really prevent anybody from coming in. And they said it would take about 30 minutes for somebody to get in. And they said by that point, the person just gave up. But it's a shame when you have to do things like that. And one of the things was that out of the 3 places I have confirmation from 2 sources, because I heard about that at the small show I ran this weekend. And then I checked when I went to my local card shop and they confirmed 2 of the 3. And the third one we found reference on Facebook. So all 3 have been confirmed by 2 sources. Is only one of the 3 has done any publicity about, hey, I got robbed and this was what was taken. You should have the word out immediately unless you don't actually know.
I wonder, I don't know, do you feel ashamed if you get robbed? You probably of course you feel violated, no doubt, I'm sure. And just like, I can't believe I let this happen. I don't know. That's a good question why they wouldn't really, publicize that, I guess.
Yeah, I think there is some of that feeling of shame, but I was told when I went to my LCS that the people may have cased the joint but really didn't know a ton about the hobby. Because in one store they went sailing past, and I know we're not talking about football, but they went sailing past Panini Flawless football cases, which are fairly easy and worth about $8K a piece.
Sure.
And so they went sailing past that because they didn't know what it was. And so, which is why in some stores you always put your best cards towards the back of the store. If you have cards out in your showcase, you put them at the back. So if somebody does that, and they do even a smash and grab, they're not getting the best cards as they walk in the door. They have to make an effort and really make a hard effort to get to the best cards or the best boxes.
There are a few shops that I've been to recently, and I've been to a few in multiple states, and I've known people there, and I've been able to kind of get a tour of the shop and what they're doing, and every one of them has gigantic safes, that they put. And he's like, one of the guys told me, he's like, I pull out all my stuff. It's all in one case. He keeps the expensive stuff in one case. It all comes out every day and goes into the safe. And in the morning they come out. Part of their routine is to unload the safe and put the stuff back in the showcase for the day. I think that's pretty smart. No one wants to get anything stolen, but you really want to protect your high value items, obviously, as best you can. So,
I tell my dealers and understand I'm doing a show, and it's a 19 table show now, so it's not a big thing. We've set up the room correctly this time. It's 19 tables. I mean, I might sneak a 20th in, and that's it. I can't grow it more than that. And it's in a synagogue, which means that if something goes wrong, the police will be there so fast it'll make your head spin. But I always tell my vendors, look, if there's something you don't want to keep overnight, you take it home with you. Even though I guarantee you we have the best security going on, and I guarantee you the cops will be here faster than anywhere else in the world, you take it home or you get it out of there if you're not comfortable. And that's the same principle. Do whatever you feel is best for your security. And Ryan, I mean, you're at the shows. You've seen stuff stolen at the shows.
Yep. I mean, look at the Dallas Card Show. It feels like every time I'm there, someone has something stolen. What I will give props to the Dallas Card Show because they have cameras everywhere now. Like they've beefed up the security so much. But because of those cameras, now people know, like, hey, this person, they're the subject here, stole a card from this dealer. And I know one of the Hobby Hotline hosts, I can't remember who it was, had the mugshot of the guy that stole, I think it was like a 1-of-1 at the Dallas Card Show. I'm drawing blank.
There are a couple really good stories on that.
I was like, that was so freaking funny.
Somebody stole a 1-on-1 Patrick Mahomes at one of the shows, and another dealer knew it and and set up the guy to bring the card back the next day. And the guy got walked out in handcuffs. He brought the card back the next day because he thought he was going to sell it to his, quote, buddy for extra money. Well, the buddy had set him up, and then he got caught with the card. I'm in the Starlight room, and there's security cameras in there. And there was one guy who on a Friday had a field day stealing stuff, but they had him on the cameras. He decided he had such a good time Friday, he'd come back Saturday. Well, guess what happened to him on Saturday?
Boom.
And he returned every card except one. And he paid for that one card that they could not find. And the hotel basically told him, if you ever set your foot in here again, you will be subject to immediate criminal trespass, and you will be arrested on the spot, and you will be in jail, and don't ever come back to the show. And as far as I know, he's never been back to the show. And it's
repressed against him.
And the reason that happened is my friend who actually I borrow some tables from, the reason they're so good with the security, my friend had a cash bag of $10,000 stolen from him at one of the shows. And they thought they had cameras and they didn't have it. Thankfully, in my friend's case, $10,000 sucks. But he's got the financial wherewithal where it sucked and it impacted him, but it didn't kill him financially. He's got enough capital socked away where he's okay. But for other people, 10,000 would be the end of the line.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it
But
would,
that woke everybody up as to just how to do their security right. So the guy who heads the securities, his name is Ruben, and he does a great job.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, props to Dallas Card Show because they have cameras everywhere. They show it on the screens. Like I know in that other second room, I think that's probably the room that you were talking about. Some of the security camera feeds. So like I know a lot of other larger card shows don't do that.
I was telling you about Ruben, with like that show where the guy who had the field day Friday and came back Saturday and then got boomed, and he had the information. He was showing every dealer from his phone who the guy was, so he could show everybody who the guy was. He walked around the show. If you see this guy, let us know. And it was great because he had it on his phone, no less. I mean, that's how good technology is.
Yep.
But yeah, we wanted to talk about that because, and I know we've talked about that on the Saturday show. It's a double-edged sword because you want to have a customer-friendly experience for people walking in the door. And yet you have to be cognizant of, especially with how easy it is to take some of this stuff and how untraceable it is unless it's serial numbered, that or graded with a the PSA barcode or the SGC or the BGS or CSG barcodes, that but if you just take a raw card, it's untraceable. If I take a raw 62 mantle, I mean, look, you saw what happened to the National to Rick Giddings. And all those cards that, I mean, I think he's going to get them back, but $80,000 worth of raw cards, I believe.
They found him?
Yeah, they know who the guy is. I believe they found him because he was texting the guy. So I mean, a lot of this was like silver platter, knowing who the person was. Rick had dealt with him before. So this was even silver platter.
Well done.
And the guy thought he could get away with it.
you can't fix stupid.
No, you can't fix stupid. You can't fix, and they knew each other. And they were texting for a while too that day. So, I mean, they really knew each other. So unless the guy was using a burner phone, which I don't think he was, you can't fix stupid. I'm both, and I love Rick, but on both ends, you can't fix stupid. Rick, it's $80,000 worth of cards. Make sure you get something in return immediately.
Well, Ryan and Rich, thanks for joining us today. I'll finish it up there. Sorry I won't be able to see you guys this weekend. I hope you guys have a great time at the show. Ryan, I know you love the Dallas show. You can you can come over and see Norman if you want again. We can make it.
I've never seen Norman.
You've never seen him, or in person? You mean
in person? I've never seen him.
Well, Rich, you're welcome. You can drive over here too. You're not that far.
No, I'm not. We'll have to arrange that at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. Well,
okay.
Thanks everybody for watching this edition of Hobby Hotline. Really appreciate you, and we'll catch you guys. Don't forget to watch Saturday, 10 a.m. Central. Another edition of Hobby Hotline coming straight to you. We'll talk to you guys later. Keep collecting.
See you guys.